What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, I tell you what, it's been almost 2 weeks, and the new CEO, Asha Sharma, Asha the Great, as King calls her. I don't know if I want to use that. I want to try to come up with something original. But she is doing all the right things, saying all the right things, saying all the right words, replying the right way. I mean, the internet kind of blew up. I think it was yesterday, day before, whatever it was, when she released the Helix little animation and stuff, and the sound. I was like, yo, I need to make a song out of that. I don't know. I'll see. I'm really gonna incorporate it into a video I'm working on, so we'll see how that works. But it's so weird how kind of the tides change. It's like the attitude is different now, right? I mean, we're still in the early phases. We don't know if she's gonna be true to her words. Hopefully she is. It doesn't seem like her track record basically dictates that she has succeeded. Everywhere she's been, she's succeeded. When she was at Instacart, she got more I was gonna say followers, but users basically. All the other spots. I think I heard something about her when she was in high school and she had done something, and then I think she met Obama. I was like, wait, what? She was, huh? I think she started her own business. I forgot what it was. Something like high schoolers shouldn't do that. You know you're gonna be something when you're in high school and you're doing stuff like that. So I'm like, all right, cool. She's the right one to be leading Microsoft gaming, Xbox into the future for now. But the main thing is it's kind of like her, right? Her expertise in marketing. It's already kind of being illustrated. If you look at what she's saying, how she's saying it, the timing, PlayStation comes out, or the rumors, and this is Jason Schreier, whatever his name is, right? And so the thing is that makes me kind of wonder about the industry, is Jason Schreier really just an independent Bloomberg's article, writer, journalist, if you will? Or is he in line with PlayStation at some point saying, somebody whispers in his ear, it'd be nice if you leak this on such and such date, because we heard that Asha Sharma's gonna announce something real big, so we want to preemptively blah blah blah, right? Imagine if that news had come out afterwards, after the Helix announcement, Helix, it's gonna play your Xbox games and PC games, and then Sony the next day comes out with, we're pulling on our PC games. That would look worse. It already looks bad for PlayStation, for Sony, right? But it would look worse because it's a reaction to what's happening. Honestly, it is a reaction to what's happening. See, they just got it out a day before, but it doesn't matter. It's still the same. But like I said, in the zeitgeist, in the public eye, and just the perception of it looks more egregious. It looks worse if they do it right after. They seem more desperate, more scared, more reactionary, which all that is still true when you look at the bigger picture. And so I'm like, okay, I'm liking what she's saying, Once again, we have to put into account marketing speak, but at the same time, I think people are not realizing that two things have happened. One, this is not the same Xbox that has been around previously for the past 11 years. This is not the Phil Spencer Xbox anymore, right? That's one. Two, this is not the Jim Ryan, Sean Layden, Jack Tretton PlayStation anymore. It is not. And so when you realize those two things, when you realize that, this isn't the PlayStation that will just ignore money on the table. That's not how PlayStation works anymore. Their CFO was on there like, money, revenue, money, revenue, money. I need to do a video You know how they did TV? I'm gonna do the same thing with that fireside chat. I was watching it. I was like, damn, they said revenue and things pertaining to making money a lot. Guess what's on their mind? Making money. Guess what they won't do? Leave money on the table. So you telling me they're gonna pull back from releasing games on PC that make them money? It's asinine. It's the stupidest thing I've heard. And why? Because it feels like, oh, it's going to hurt their name brand and they won't sell as many consoles. You're not selling consoles to begin with because of the PC or not the PC. You're making up a number, first of all, so we don't actually know what the number is. But let's imagine that you've sold 70 million. You probably have sold that, right? Say, I'll give you 75, because I always say around 15, minus 15 or whatever number they give us. That's the actual number. So 75, 70, 77 to be nice, right? Isn't that enough? Isn't that enough to, fill your coffers full of, based off of the banger games that you're releasing, it should be enough, because you got 77. If you get 10%, every time, then you got 7.7 million sales each banger that you. That's enough, right? Ghost of Yote sold like 6 or something. That's almost 10%. That should be good, right? And she said 10% margin, not 10% sales of the ratio. But the problem is, and this is why I don't understand it, right? Maybe they think that because they're putting games on PC that people aren't buying it on PlayStation, which is true, but the people buying it on PC don't have PlayStation, so they wouldn't buy the game in the first place. And that's the problem. It's like they're so stupid that they're like, yo, we're going to take it off of PC and force people to buy a PlayStation. That's like, no, that's not what's going to happen. They're not going to play your game. That's what's going to happen. Or they'll create an emulator and play it on the PC regardless. They'll find an ISO somewhere. They'll find a ROM. Look, PC gamers are very, very crafty fellas and gals. They will find a way to get your game. Period. That's it. That's it and that's all. So they can try all they want. It's not going to work. Besides that stuff, though, their idea of trying to convert PC players to PlayStation, that was the stupidest. That was Sean Layden's thing. Oh, we're gonna convert them. They're gonna see how good Spider-Man is, and then when Spider-Man 2's not on PC, they're gonna go and buy a PlayStation to play Spider-Man. No, they didn't do that. And is that why they're pulling away from PC? It doesn't make sense. They're losing sales. They're leaving money on the table. They're still not gonna go play. They're not gonna go buy PlayStations because the game isn't on PC, because there's so many games on PC that they don't need to play your game. The problem with PlayStation, they think it's the hubris. It's still there. They think that their games are the best games ever, and it'll force people to buy a $700 console. They're out of their minds. They're so stupid. Look, like I said last video, I was like, look, Crimson Desert alone is like better than all of PlayStation's bangers. The one that they release a year, whatever it is this year. Is it going to be Wolverine? You know that I will say this. I'm going to be confident in when I'm saying this. More people will play Crimson Desert for longer than Wolverine. Period. Now, Wolverine is going to be I'm going to say Wolverine may be a good game. Still a possibility that could be hot trash garbage, especially compared to Spider-Man. It's not going to be better than Spider-Man. It's not going to do as well as Spider-Man either, but there's a drought, so the Ponies and Donkey Unicorns are probably going to go get it because they're hungry. They're hungry for anything. But Crimson Desert, I'm looking at that game, I'm like, damn, I'm going to have to buy that game. Is it Play Anywhere? I think it's Play Anywhere. If it's Play Anywhere, it's bought. That's Game Pass aside, like, oh yeah, cool, Game Pass, yeah, I'll try it out. But if I want a game, I'm going to buy the game because I want it forever. Yeah. And so, like, Crimson Desert, if it's Play Anywhere and it's on PC, you could throw some mods in there. Be like, yo, I want a different. I want Randy the Macho Man Savage Dragon in this one too. Oh yeah, and it comes down. I'm like, yeah. Give me that. Somebody's gonna do a dragon mod with Randy. Come on, son. You gotta do it. Every game that has a dragon that's on PC needs to have Randy the Macho Man Dragon in it. That would be dope. Anyway, but yeah. That strategy didn't work, and this strategy to try to force people to buy a PlayStation because their game isn't available anywhere else, it's cute. It works for certain things, but like I said, their games, they're cool, they're okay. You may be able to trick a few people, but most of the PC game, they're not falling for. They're like, nah, bro. I'm playing Fortnite. They're playing so many games, they don't have time to look your way and say, oh yeah, that's whatever. And then they go to whatever mod community and say, yo, who made this game already in Unreal? And then they go play that. That's how it is, man. You can compare it to the Wild West, and it's more wild than PlayStation's ecosystem. PlayStation ecosystem it might be worse than Nintendo's. People are like, oh no, you're just a hater, blah, blah, blah. No, they censor more than Nintendo. Believe that. They censor more than Nintendo. So I'm like, hold up. First of all, adult? Kind of, sort of. But I can watch adult things, right? I can impart and take in adult activities. Excuse me. So why can't I play a video game with boobies? Why can't I get an unfiltered, unedited, uncensored experience on PlayStation? I can't, because they are. I don't know if it's a Japanese. I don't think it's a Japanese thing. I think it's just a Sony thing. I think they're just scared to get in trouble with anybody. I don't know what the reality is, but I'm just saying that's how it is over there, and that's one reason why I don't mess with PlayStation, because even like the Bethesda games that have mods, the mods on Bethesda games on PlayStation are ridiculously hot trash garbage. I saw it and I was like, what is? It's just stuff you can do. It just like the stuff that you can mod is just in-game stuff. It's like no extra, like no. You can't get Randy on PlayStation. You can't get Randy Monster Man Dragon Savage on PlayStation. You can't get Thomas the train engine on play. You can't get none of that because they're whack. This PlayStation is whack. That's a simple way of saying it, but you know. Asha's coming through. She's doing the thing. She's creating zeitgeist. I mean, less than 2 weeks, and she's already turning it around. Now we have to see what GDC has to hold for us. We have to see what Jason Reynolds has to say. And look, and we're watching. We as a collective, WBG. I don't know if Paris is watching, but all of us bots, all of us that bleed green, King, everybody else. We're watching these ponies and donkey unicorns make a fool of themselves. They're sitting here. King Thrash, for instance, he's the idiot. I didn't realize how stupid he was. I was just thinking everybody was kind of trolling him and saying he's dumb because he said volcano in one time or whatever. And I knew what he was. He was just saying goofy words to be funny. But now I'm like, is he still playing goofy guy, or is he actually just stupid? Because he said, as in response to Jason Reynolds' LGF. Oh, LFG, excuse me. He, paraphrasing, of course, he said, did he even work on the console? Maybe do some I forgot what he said exactly, but I'm like, you don't know who Jason Reynolds is, obviously, because, yeah. We all know who Jason Reynolds is, but if anybody happened to stumble across this video and you don't know who Jason Reynolds is, he is the hardware architect for Microsoft, Xbox, excuse me. He is the VP of next-gen consoles, basically. He is in charge of the technology that they're putting into the hardware of the next Xbox. The Helix. That's his baby. That's his brainchild. That's his machination. It's not machination. That's his, his creative, and believe me, people are like, oh, those aren't art. You have to be a very artistically brained person to be able to construct, architect. That's why architects are artists. Hardware architecture is beyond my brain. So I'm looking at, I can't even I'm looking at microscopic pictures of computer chips, and I'm like, how are we here? How did we figure out, first of all, miniaturization to that level? I'm like, you need an electron microscope to look at how small these. And then I'm like, how does that stuff actually work? And people just like, yeah, we're gonna put that there, put the chip here, chip there. They put them in certain places so that the traces aren't so long, so you get faster in and out throughput and all that stuff. There's a science and an art to creating these consoles, these motherboards, these chip configurations, all this stuff, which is beyond my artistic ability. And it's really fascinating to me, and that's where like new hardware is interesting to me. And that's why I said last video, I think it was last video, I asked the question about the FSR versus DLSS. Or no, it was FSR versus PSSR, PISR. And how are they different, and what are the actual processes that make it work? You know, how does it do it? And then how does FSR work? How does it do it? And how does, you know, PISR tech work? And how's it doing? How do they, you know, prioritize certain functions? And I just want to know these, kind of get into it to see what the difference is, or if it's just a name change. Because it's kind of curious, like FSR, FSR4, and then now it's Redstone, right? That's what they're calling it now. And I'm like, okay, so all this stuff is happening, and that Mark Cerny is working with AMD to make their own version of Redstone, or is it their own version of FSR? Because it can't be Redstone, because that can't work on the PlayStation because it's only RDNA 2. So I'm like, how? It can't be bespoke. It has to be based off of something. So it has to be based off of, I would assume, AMD's technology. I want to know the difference. That's all I'm saying. And like, Sony loves to take credit for stuff that they really aren't doing or don't do or whatever. And I'm like, look, just be honest. If you can't be honest, then I can't take you seriously. And that's why I can't take PlayStation seriously. I can't take Sony seriously, because they're not giving us honest numbers. They don't give us the sell through number. They're giving us sell into store number. We don't want that. We want an actual number that actually exists. Not, oh, we manufactured 92 million. Yeah, but how many of those are actually people playing PlayStations at their home? Not 92. It's less than that. So, you know, you're lying to us. You're fooling. You're saying falsities, false numbers to make yourself look better, to make it look better. So that, do your shareholders know that that's not the number? Do you actually give them the number? I'm gonna have to do some research and look at those shareholder reports and stuff and see what they're actually saying, because I want the real number. Anyway, sorry for the tangent, but I feel good right now. This generation, what's happening right now? What's happening with Asha the Great? I'm gonna use King's moniker for now until I come up with something. So Asha the Great, I appreciate what she's doing. I appreciate the fast turnaround as far as hearts and minds. We'll see if it continues. I'm gonna say it will continue. I know GDC is just gonna be a lot of techno babble, if you will, but I'm interested in that, and I want to ingest as much of that as possible, as much as they give us. Because like when they did it last time for the Series X, and they did the mesh shaders and all, and I understood it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. But the fact was that the devs weren't really using that technology. They were stuck on the PlayStation dev kits, and it was trash. I mean, it was just a PlayStation 4 dev kit. You know, just, you know, you can get higher resolution and it's faster on the PlayStation 5. That's basically what happened. So they're like, oh, we already know how to use this trash. Let's keep using this trash because it's easy and it costs us less money. We don't have to learn a new thing, and it's cheaper and we're quicker. That's why it happened. And money hadn't. PlayStation was money hadn't. But anyway, I'm sorry. I keep tangenting a little bit. But like I said, I'm liking what Asha's saying. I want to see what Jason Ronald says. I don't think Jason Ronald has ever said anything like bad or like to cause a negative kind of feeling towards the brand or anything. So, because like I said, he's just a tech wizard. He's just a guy making the box. So, and speaking of the box, speaking of the console, which it is, I mean, D-Batch I'm not paraphrasing, I'm quoting. I believe it was 105 Dragons TV. I think that's him. He's on YouTube. I think his Twitter got hacked, but I followed him on Twitter and I followed him on YouTube. I subbed on YouTube. He's funny. I like him. He called D-Batch a dick. I've never interacted with D-Batch, I don't think. But based off of my anecdotal observations, obviously, from other people, and I might agree with that. I might agree that D-Batch is a dick. I don't see why he needs to be that way. Sometimes, I mean, look, all of us have that gene inside of us. I think it's part of our survival instinct. Some of us use it, wield it less effectively, I would say. I've definitely done it at the wrong time. I think I have a cap on it now, being an old man. So I don't need to unleash that beast as much. It does come out. I ain't gonna lie. And some people act like they can do, get over. That's when you gotta be like, hold up, put the brakes on, stop sign. You know what I'm saying? But these donkey unicorns, these ponies, are saying stupid things, and they're looking real stupid right now, real dumb. Everything they're trying to say, everything they're trying to do is being contradicted and combated and just slapped down. Slap. Like Charlie Murphy, slap. Well, I mean, it was Chappelle did it to Rick James. Anyway. And so I'm looking at these ponies. I'm looking at these donkey unicorns, and I'm like, they are scared too. That's the thing. We see that Sony's scared. That's why they're quote unquote pulling their games. I don't think they're really pulling their games, but that's what the rumor is. That's what, they want to speak it into fruition or whatever. Nah, man. $2 billion? That's too much money out of $20 billion? That's a lot. Imagine you had $20,000, right? And you're just like, you know what? I don't need the extra two. It's like, well, that's kind of a different type of mindset. Like, people who are successful, they grab every penny they can because they can take that money, reinvest it. $2,000 reinvested could make you a lot of money. So if they're gonna walk away from $2,000, I mean, excuse me, $2 million, $2 million, right? I mean, excuse me, $2 billion. $2 billion is like, it's like the budget of how many games for how many years? That alone. So that money alone could be, funding your games, period. All of them. And everything else is, operational costs or whatever. It depends on if y'all want to adjust your budgets for the games, but that's on them. That's business. That's they're Sony's in a bad place because they're all over the place, and this move, this quote unquote taking their games off of PC, does not look like the market leader making moves. That's not what market leaders don't retreat and defend and run away scared. That's what PlayStation is right now. They're yellow belly. They're mustard hearts, as King says, but they're yellow belly company right now. They're running away scared because they have no recourse. They have no chess move because they're in checkmate. They can't do anything else but retreat. So who's winning again? Who's winning the console war? Oh, they are, because they supposedly sold 92 million. That's not what you sold. See, it's funny when these donkey unicorns and ponies, and I have a problem with everyone that says they have sold 92 million. I heard Plume say it today. I love Plume. He's cool. He's probably one of the few Canadians that I do, a handful of Canadians that I do appreciate. But he said it. He just said it really quickly, but he said it like it was fact. And that's where I have a problem. I love Sigs, but Sigs did it right. He said, 92 million. I think he said so, but then he said, oh, my bad, shipped. He corrected himself, I believe. Or he just said it outright, shipped. Thank you, Sigs. Thank you, King. Thank you, everyone else who's keeping it real. Everyone who says that they sold 92 million plus, stop. I'm gonna call you a pony bot. I'm gonna call you something. I'll figure out a name for you. But that's not the truth. That's not reality. And that's one of the reasons how this perception game is working and how they're playing the perception game, when the reality is that they're not as good as their perception is. They're not as popular as their perception is, because the popularity is kind of a default thing. It's like these casuals don't know any better, so they're just gonna. It's not like, oh, you guys are popular, so I have to buy it. They're just like, that's all people are buying that, so I'm gonna buy it. And it has to do with popularity, but it's not about the merits of the popularity. It's just about just blind purchasing, which is a good problem to have, but you cannot sustain, if you will, that type of business, because people get smart. Even casuals will get smart if they care enough. And when the new consoles come around, when the Magnus comes around, and King's still saying $14.99, I'm like, maybe not. If it is $8.99, sold. I'm buying it. Sight unseen, I'm buying it. If it's $9.99, sold. If it's over that, I'll see. I'll probably still buy it. I can save up my little coins and buy it. I don't need to save. That's what credit cards are for. Do need to save. Be responsible with your credit cards. I'll put some money away for it. But anyway, the point is that I want what they're selling. If the rumors are true, if you give me 48 gigs of RAM, like DDR, I think it's 6. If it's 7, let's go. If it's 6, okay. But if it's 7, yes. But anyway, if you give me a console that has 48 gigs of RAM and a 408 nanometer chip, I believe that the SoC is that's the size, the biggest console chip ever, biggest console SoC. I don't care about the memory, the SSD. I mean, you can always slap an extra one in. So you give me 512, I'll be fine with that. I'll slap some more memory in that to keep the cost down. That's fine. The key though is that it's a console first, but you can dual boot it, or you can switch it to Windows mode or whatever, Windows 12, whatever it is, right? And I can do my music. I could do blenders. Dude, imagine having. They say this is what Moore's law is. Moore's law is dead. That's what he said. This is what he said. He said that based off of the chips and all the information that he has gotten, that the chipset will be equal to a 5080. I know some people have a problem with comparing AMD side to the NVIDIA stuff, but that's an easier way to understand it, because most of us don't understand the nomenclature of the number system of the AMD chipset of their graphics cards. We know their 9000 series is 97X. I don't even know it, but I know it's 9000 at the moment. That's the highest one they have so far. But I don't know. I have no comparison. Like, what is that compared to the NVIDIA side? NVIDIA is a little bit easier because they've kept the same numbers and they just increased it. Anyway, so 5080. I was like, okay, cool, blah, blah, blah. And you think 48 gigs is cool because you could get 32 gigs. Well, that's a lot. So 32 gigs for graphics and then 16, right? That's right. 16 for system. Let's go. Or vice versa. I mean, it's unified memory, so you can allocate it however you want to, which is perfect because you say, Windows mode, give me all the RAM. Or give me, you do 32 for Windows and then 16 for graphics. And then you can keep it that way, or you could split it whatever way. You could do 24 and 24. There's so many different ways that they can do configurations as far as graphics RAM versus OS RAM and all that stuff, system RAM. It's crazy, and it's like when I think about it like that, I'm like, whoa, okay, they can do some stuff with that amount of RAM. And that's what kind of gets me, because like my laptop has 32 gigs of RAM. I think that's the highest amount of RAM I have in any system that I have. And the rest are basically, I think I have 16 and another one. But it's this whole RAM thing is whatever. But it will affect prices, yes. but I don't think it's going to affect them as much as people think. And hopefully they can keep the price under $1,000 for that new Xbox, the Xbox Helix, baby. I like that name. I like that logo. I like the little sound it made. I like it all. I appreciate y'all hanging out, showing, listening, like and subscribe. Leave in the comments below. Let me know what you think about the new Helix, what Asha is doing, what Matt Booty is doing. Let's see what this GDC talks is gonna be like. They got a whole bunch of talks lined up. And let me know like what you think about these donkey unicorns and how they're kind of trying to hold on to a narrative that's just falling apart in front of their faces. And yeah. But anyway, I appreciate. I'll talk to you on the next one too. To wait.